Yeah, baby. Yeah, we're rocking. We're on all the platforms. I'm just going to go to Facebook quickly and get rid of the one that is not accurate.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
Friends.
Is there anybody here? Can you
Where's
see
our people?
Can you see
I can see us.
Huh?
I'm on our Facebook page. I can see us.
Oh, so it's streaming to Facebook.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Hi, Cole Peters. Cole is coming to us from YouTube. Angela from Facebook. Hey, Angela, what is happening? Hey, it's working.
Cool.
Hello, Bjorn.
Oh, yours isn't.
My Facebook isn't?
Yeah. We're going to try yours again.
Okie dokie. We are attempting new technology here, folks.
Yeah, we're doing something a little different.
I'm eating cucumbers, which is a total faux pas when you have a microphone in front of your face.
There we go.
Eat.
Okay, I'm going to go just delete the ones on your Facebook here, Joe.
All right.
So, yeah, we're here to hang out and to ask questions. Or to answer questions, I suppose. More accurately.
SMB sounds great. Come on. Or SM7B. Look at
all these folks.
It's the thing.
So pretty fun. About what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes before we jumped in here, my son took his first couple of steps.
Those were his first steps like ever?
First on camera.
Okay.
First on camera. You know what? And I think I can even potentially, if anybody's keen, I think I can even share it. We could watch it live. Anybody else wants to see my kid take his first couple of steps?
I want to see that.
We could definitely do that. Let's see. David.
Oh, we got somebody from North Germany, from Hamburg. Let me see if I remember. Moin Hamburg. Is that right?
Nice.
Hans from Berlin. Oh, man. I had the best time in Berlin a couple years ago. I got to spend like 8, 9, 10 days hanging out in Berlin. It was so fun. Dale Wallace. Oh, man. Sorry, I completely forgot to call you back. I will call you back.
I love that. People drop it and be like, dude, you owe me money. Hey, Rami. Thanks. Rami May's in the house.
Bro ho hos. Nice.
Germany, close to the Danish border. We had a good sweat on the last tour because we got pulled over at the Danish border. We were surprised. We were quite surprised to be pulled over at the Danish border. And we had to go out, and they were really friendly and everything, but we just weren't, and we're not anticipating a border check. It was like, oh, would you look at that?
Yeah.
So we're here hanging out, but we'd love to take any questions you might have. So if there's anything you want to know, just drop it into the comment section, and we'll gladly.
I already saw some nerdy guitar questions.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Where did they go? Oh, pickup preference, single coil, P90s, Buckers, all of them.
So William asked, are you guys seeing the YouTube chat? I believe we are. I think we're seeing, well, I'm seeing you.
Yes, no, we are. Yeah, we are. I think William is asking from YouTube. Yes. We're seeing you, William.
We see it loud and clear, folks. Yeah, we're not going to tell that story, Rami. That one can get buried.
Clive is asking, did I ever release the album of Lowell George / Little Feat covers? No, not yet. It's actually still working on it. But it's going to come out next year, I promise. That is a gold star promise.
You are so close too, aren't you? You guys, you're in the midst of mixing it down, right?
Yeah. We're in the middle of mixing.
Oh, you guys, you're gonna flip. It's so good. The Lowell George project is so good.
I'm pretty excited about it. We've been working on it. It'll be 3 years in January that I'll have been working on it. But yeah.
Oh well, sometimes it just takes a minute. You got to be in the right headspace for it.
just takes a minute. Yep.
What did I see? Somebody said, Antonio says, say something about new stuff you are working on. Joey, tell him what we're working on.
Well, right now we're not working on anything because we're in lockdown here in Manitoba. So yeah, we have had to press pretty serious pause on working on the new record, but we were working on it up until the last six weeks or so, I guess. Has it been that long since we went into lockdown?
I've been locked down since November. Yeah, 6 weeks. I've been because I got my flu shot a little bit before November 3rd, and then it's been a month.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, and but yeah, so we're just slowly piecing together our third LP, which we're really, really excited about. A lot of new music, a lot of new sounds, a lot of new ideas. It's fun. It's super, super fun. Yeah, we'll as soon as we can get back into the studio together, we'll start kind of leaking little moments on social media. You guys can kind of see what we're up to. Somebody said, "Did you buy the Cooder caster?" In what world do you guys think I live that I can afford $150,000 guitar? I wish, but that's never gonna happen.
Maybe it's a dog too. Maybe it's a dog
You
guitar.
know what? I've had a couple friends who live in New York go and play it, and one guy said it's really, really, really heavy, like heavier than a heavy Les Paul. Which
No way.
I don't care. If I had the money, I would do it. Rami, tunes that are on it are I'll get so it's not everybody's like, did you do Dixie Chicken? Did you do Rock and Roll Doctor? No, I did like my favorite tunes, which I'm now discovering to be kind of obscure, but that's just because that's what my dad listened to. Swear to God, I'm not having a hipster moment. You wouldn't know them. But we just listened to a lot of Down on the Farm, which was not the most popular Little Feat record, but I loved it. So I did a tune off of Down on the Farm called Perfect Imperfection. I did do Long Distance Love. All That You Dream. What Do You Want the Girl to Do? But a bunch of good tunes, songs that I really like, and hopefully you guys will like them too.
I saw a comment. Somebody mentioned that my microphone was a lot louder than Joey's. I just tried to adjust the volume. Can anybody else weigh in on that? Are you guys hearing things okay?
I can send a little more level from my end as well. I'm metering pretty low. Hey, check 1 2. How's that for everybody?
We'll find out. I think there's a bit of a delay, so we'll find out in a sec.
Yeah,
I'm going to go back. There's some really great questions here. Okay, I'm going to start with this one. David, to me, how much do you like Dave Matthews?
When did this happen?
Well, so Marielle Buckley, our pal Marielle from Alberta, who's just ridiculously talented, posted a picture and was teasing me and saying that we were lying on the couch in the studio having a laugh, and she was saying that I was playing my favorite Dave Matthews songs. But
thanks, Rom.
I really do like Dave Matthews. I'll tell you why. When I was 10 years old, for Christmas, I wanted my first CD. Up until that point, all we had was tapes. And for my first CD, I asked for a Matthew Good Band CD, and my grandma went to probably HMV and came home with the Dave
Zellers. You know that she went to Zellers.
Zellers. She went to Zellers for sure. And she brought home a Dave Matthews CD instead of a Matthew Good Band. And I didn't know the difference. It's I thought I knew who Matthew Good Band was, but I think I probably just wanted it because somebody told me it was cool. But I fell in love with it. It was Crash by Dave Matthews, and I love that record. And still to this day, when I hear that album, I feel like I'm a 10-year-old kid listening to my very first CD on my very first Walkman, one of those Panasonic, the shock ones that had the 3 seconds of anti-shock, which really meant that you had to like be your own shock absorber for it because it had no ability to manage even the slightest bump. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So I do like Dave Matthews. And Dave, if you're out there, take us on tour, would you?
Yeah, let's see. Oh, Andre asking about High Road Fuzzes. I'm not sure, actually. Zach is absolutely inundated with orders. He is constantly building pedals, and so I think at this moment in time, adding another 75 or 100 pedals to his thing is realistically probably 30 or 40. Who am I kidding? It's probably not going to happen until later not later, but into 2021. So probably, I don't know, I want to say maybe around March or April we might do another run of those, but yeah.
Killer. Got another one here. This one's kind of fun. William Smothers says, I know Joey from his music and appearances on that pedal show. How do you fit into the picture, Dave? I kind of love that. I love that there are folks coming from all these various corners of the internet that don't kind of know the story of the brothers Landreth, but I am the brother Landreth. For any of you that are here because of Joey's solo work or know him as a guitar player, but together we have a band called the Brothers Landreth, and we are in fact indeed brothers for at least the last 35 years.
At least.
Yeah.
That always blows my mind. It doesn't happen very often, but every now and then you bump into somebody who is not familiar with the band, which is crazy because to me the band has always been the thing. But
yeah. Oh, here's another funny one. Oh, hey, Johnny Boyle. Good to have Johnny Boyle in the house.
Joe Bo.
Jimmy James, thanks again for the email. Yeah, Joe. No, William, don't feel bad. I'm genuinely, I think that's great. I love that there's all these different roads that people find the music. I don't care how you got here, man. I'm just glad you're here. Don't feel bad. I got also, Joey, can you help me to remember I can't talk loud because if I wake up my kid, Roberta's going to be choked.
I'm not my brother's keeper.
You must be. Okay, so Antonio says...
keep your stupid voice down. Sorry.
Antonio Manco says, in the last years, you and Chris Stapleton have become my favorite international artists. I'm Italian, so sorry for some language mistakes. Don't worry, man. You're doing great. What do you think about Chris Stapleton? I think Chris Stapleton's amazing. But Joey, tell him the story about the time that we blew off Chris Stapleton.
So it was our first time in Nashville, and we had booked a couple of writing sessions with a few writers. One of them was Jonathan Singleton, the guy that we wrote Made Up Mind, and I wrote Gone Girl with. What else did we write with Jonathan?
Made Up Mind.
Made Up Mind, yeah. And then a couple of songs that are going to wind up on the new record. 2 songs that are on the new record, and we had another. And now I don't remember. But maybe it makes for a better story because at that time I was still drinking. It was before I got sober, and we blew off our other writing session. And I don't remember if it might have been because I was hungover. Hopefully no. I honestly can't remember. But we had a writing session booked with a Nashville-based songwriter that was on the rise by the name of Chris Stapleton, and we basically called in sick and didn't go. And canceled it like the day before.
Whoops.
Just like, oh man, I just don't know if I can write tomorrow. I'm just not feeling very well. And, whatever the excuse was, it was something like that. And that's it.
And so we put out our records on the same day in the US on, I can't remember what day in January. It was in January of 2015. We were both in New York City. We were playing in the same block on the Lower East Side. He was doing the Mercury Lounge, where we play regularly. And we were down the street playing Rockwood. We were both doing our CD release parties at the same day. We just dropped the record on the same day. And Traveler, that was the record that he put out, which obviously went on to be like a platinum record.
Yeah.
And ours, it's platinum in my heart. Does that count?
It's made of solid gold. Not literally, just emotionally.
Yeah. I got to say, Rami, I've seen Rami in the chat, and I was thinking about this the other day, Rami, and I'm too tired from being a dad to stay in touch with friends, but I was thinking about this the other day because I was thinking about how I came to love country music and like Americana and roots and stuff, and I don't think I regularly attribute it to that, but the fact of the matter is that I got a gig touring with Rami in 2009. And that was my gateway drug into roots music, realistically. Prior to that, I'd been playing in bar bands and pick up gigs and doing whatever around town. And Rami took me out on the road. And that's through Rami and Jay. That's where I learned about all the Americana artists that I love now. Like Gerf Morlix and Lucinda Williams. And I learned about,
only playing one note at a time.
Only playing one note at a time. So that was it. That was like probably one of my most formative musical experiences, was going on the road there and learning a lot about that. So hats off to you, Rami.
What's interesting about that is that I was watching you do that with Rami and Jay and Rhino, and I was doing a lot more like the sort of commercial pop country stuff. And I was like basically Winnipeg to Vancouver and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth nonstop, playing, these same country festivals with the same artists and the same fans and the same music. And I really didn't love it. And I remember watching kind of you guys tour around, Texas and Europe and, all over the place, and feeling like, that's really what I want to be doing. I want to be going and playing meaningful music and listening to people play their meaningful music. Not that commercial pop country isn't meaningful, but it just doesn't mean anything to me. It's not my passion at all. It was just it was like my day job. And I worked for a lot of really great people who wrote really great songs. And then I also worked for a lot of really great people who wrote some not so great songs. I certainly don't regret any of the things that I've done. And I certainly don't, I would do it all the same again. But there was that moment watching you guys do that and go, I think that's what I want to do. So I can kind of also blame Rami, for crossing over to the dark side.
Well, and like in so many ways too, because like Rami was the captain of her own ship. She's an indie artist. She's always carved her own path and done her own thing. And that really informed the way we approached the Bros in the early days too. Like we had this vision of what, like, because the other thing, like musically it was really formative, but also like I learned a lot about life. And we only toured for like a year and a half, but that was like, man, did we do a lot of living in that year and a half, realistically. Maybe it's a little bit longer. No, it wasn't that crazy long. We did a couple laps kind of around the world. We went to Europe, all over Canada and States. Yeah, heavy stuff. So it's cool to think about the things that happen early in your life that have these rippling effects, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah. Hey, to wander over to the gear side of town, Jeffrey Kavanaugh wants to know, Dave, two Qs, two Qs, baby. How's your fuzz search going? If you'd like to try a Wren and Cuff box of war, he has one he can mail your way.
I have no idea what that is, but
Wren and Cuff make really cool pedals.
Yeah, Jeff, let's chat. Jeff makes basses out of Edmonton. Jeff, forgive me if that's wrong.
He's also asking about the Garnet Herzog, and I don't own one, but a buddy of mine has one. And I took it for a spin, and it's a very, very cool.
Clive
you guys are saying you pretty much. Oh, yeah.
Legit,
in a not so roundabout way.
I totally agree with that. I know you're being facetious, but I was having this moment like last week or whatever it was. There was a reason. Somebody had asked me something, and it twigged me to think like, yeah, why do I like? Oh, you know what it was? I was listening to. There's it's a beautiful podcast on NPR about Gillian Welch and David Rawlings and sort of the way they've weathered this latter half of their career. And I was thinking about the fact that I first heard Soul Revival in the van on Rami's recommendation on tour. And that was what led me down this sort of like nostalgic rabbit hole. It's like, right, that music and all this other music came out of that. So very cool. There's a great one here, Joe. It says, if you ever get a chance to write with Laurie McKenna or Caitlin Smith in Nashville, don't blow them off. Yeah, we'll do a little better. We'll do a little better next time.
Oh man, that's just one of those moments where like I try not to live with many regrets, but that one wanders awfully close. But we got to hang out with Chris Stapleton years later on the Cayamo cruise thing, and
Yeah,
he was really really sweet. I mean, he didn't offer to write any songs with us, but I think
he
that
did.
ship has sailed. But
Yeah.
he was really really kind and had seen us play on the boat and had nice things to say. But what a monster! What a monster!
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's legit. Like he is one of those very transparent, very unpretentious cats. And
Yeah.
I was really cool. I'm glad we got a chance to meet him. He was very approachable.
It's not at all surprising because I think a cat like him gets their start just as a normal working musician who he certainly climbed his way up the ladder, um, but um, he did start from the beginning. He didn't he nothing was really handed to him, so it's not a surprise um, when somebody like that is super cool.
Hmm.
And I mean, like, and if you think about it, he did get overnight success in a way, but it wasn't before putting in like 10, 15 years of really, really, really hard dog style work.
Yeah, he
Before
honed
he
his
before he
craft for
had
like
that moment, yeah. And so I think,
decades.
yeah,
And there's
Dano. Hi from Johnny Cajun. Johnny Cajun was also another very very important part of my musical education.
oh,
Playing with Dano.
holy smokes! I think, hey, Red Shell's in the house. I think Samuel Golightly just paid $10 to ask us a question.
Oh shit! Well, we
I didn't
better.
even. We better answer that question. Thank you, Samuel. I didn't know that was a
Yeah,
thing, but
I think it's called a super question. I think. Do you
you
think?
can have a super answer. Thank you for doing that. I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
Oh
Look
man,
at that.
I
That's so
think that is
sharp.
that's a really really interesting question. I mean, my wife is she's a sign language interpreter. She comes from a deaf family. So language and language concepts and culture and all that stuff, we talk about that stuff a lot. And I will preface all of this by saying I don't have any education in linguistics, but I do think that stuff is really really interesting. And I find as a Canadian, for a long time when we traveled around, I would try to hide my accent. Obviously, when you're walking around at home, you don't feel like you have an accent. But then the second you go somewhere new, um, you realize that you sound different than other people. And I would often try to hide my accent. And just in the last, like, I don't know, I want to say 2 years, I've really stopped trying to do that. And I've started trying to speak the way that I normally speak, not make excuses for who I am and where I grew up, but I'm also trying to do that in the way that I sing. Um, so I don't know that it necessarily has worked its way, like those things, cadence, syntax, vocab, inflection, etc. But it is something that I'm thinking about. Mostly, honestly, pronunciation of things, like kind of questioning, things that just become innate, the way that you pronounce certain words, certain consonants, certain things, and just wondering, like, hang on a second, do we actually say things like that in Central Canada? No. So why am I singing it like that? You know what I mean? But I also love the idea that music is very language like, in that it is I think in a lot of ways very communicative, and the way it's built up in terms of vocabulary and how you problem solve musically reminds me a lot of the way language moves. So I do think there are lots and lots and lots of connections. Although I would be interested to know if anybody's done any kind of like neural studies on whether or not your brain lights up in the language center when you're improvising. That would be really interesting to know, but
Mm,
I don't know if it does. Um, yeah,
cool. Killer
because and the
question.
reason the reason I think about that is because one of the things that gets talked about in terms of like sign language and deafness and language in general is for a really long time uh, people assumed that speech and language were connected in the brain, and so a lot of ideas based on whether or not to give a deaf child access to sign language when they're a baby was questioned. But then there were studies that were done that showed that the language chord is not reserved exclusively for speech. So it lights up when you use sign language as well. So would be curious to know if music sort of wiggles its way in there even a little bit. Maybe somebody knows.
Crazy. Yeah. Any neurologists in the chat?
Yeah, who knows?
Nice. Thanks, Samuel. Appreciate it. And thanks for the $10, man. We're both going to buy coffees from that. Expensive coffees too.
Hi from Finland. Hey, Finland.
I want to back up. I thought there was another question there. I love it when Rhett Shell drops in.
Yeah, come on.
Dang.
Rhett Shell in the house.
Well, here's one for you, Joey.
Mm.
I'm going to put these up on the question as we're listening to them. Andrew says, "Hey, so forgive this, but as not having heard any Cooder, what should be my essential listening?"
Oh yeah. Oh man, and Rye has like such a prolific discography. It can get really easy to get lost in there. I would start with Get Rhythm and Bop Till You Drop. Those are records that I can't get enough of.
I love. I mean, I don't even know if he played on it, but the Buena Vista Social Club that he produced.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite records of all time too.
Mm-hmm.
For something like a totally different inflection.
Yeah.
Here's one. This is from Jimmy James. Would you ever record a song from an amateur YouTube songwriter, Joey? For context, Jimmy James, 1978 is, he's the fella, I sent you a video. He's the truck driver who writes songs.
Oh, yes.
So everybody, James or Jimmy, I don't know what you prefer, is a fantastic songwriter and singer, and had a bit of an aha moment. I think posted some videos, and it got who's the guy who plays along guitar stuff and he's on the internet and he's really like
Michael
positive.
Palmacero.
Michael Palmacero posted a video of Jimmy James 1978 singing one of his tunes. And James, you got just a stunning voice. We don't typically record songs from other cats.
I'm sorry, Palmisano.
Palmisano.
The second I said that, I was like, that's not right.
Fact check. We don't typically do outside songs. Like we've done my dad's tunes, we've done covers of our favorite songs, but we really love the writing process. That's part of what we really get off on. So we're not typically looking for other songs. But that said, I want to hear you record your songs, because you write beautiful songs and you've got just the voice of an angel. So why don't you record your tunes, man, and put them out? In fact, why don't you record some songs and then give us a call, because we have a record label and maybe we can help you put them out, because you got something special.
Jimmy James, that is my brother potentially offering you a record deal.
Or some help. Or some help.
Tunes. Yeah.
Send me some tunes. Record your own songs, James, because you're fantastic. And you already have a day job, so you don't need to grind it out as a musician. It could just be for fun.
There you go. Oliver Strosetsky is saying, can you already tell us something about the direction of the new Bros Landreth record? When you say you have new sounds, your concert has been one of the most remarkable I've seen in Munich so far. Ollie, is that you? Are you the Oliver that I know? I believe that it is.
From Guitar Magazine?
Yeah. I believe that's you.
Yeah.
What's different, Dave? I think we're digging in a little deeper on some tones. We're exploring. I don't think anything on this new record is going to is going to confuse anybody necessarily. Do you think?
Not confused. I think there's enough familiarity there that fans of Joey, fans of the Bros, there's going to be lots to appreciate. But I feel like this record is going in a very different direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's
well, and maybe I could say something like some of the more explorative sounds that showed up on my last solo record, on Hindsight, for example. Like there's a lot of sort of weird synth pedals that I used, and some micro loopers and things I like to call bleeps and bloops. I think a lot of people like to call them bleeps and bloops. those are things that I really started getting into around the making of that record. And for some reason, I think I just sort of in my mind reserved those kind of things for my solo side. Like, this is just stuff that I get into on the solo side. And when I started playing Dave some of the new music that I was writing, and he was saying like, oh, I really like a lot of this stuff. I have some ideas. Like, would you want to collaborate on these tunes? Like, well, yeah, of course. But in my mind, these songs were just like, well, they have some of these sort of tonal exploration things, and I don't know, does it fit in the Bros Landreth? And we started kind of batting that around as like, well, why wouldn't it fit? Like, the thing is, like, it's not, do we not use these sounds because that's not us, or do we try to take some of these sounds that I've explored on the solo side and bring them in to the more sort of rootsy organic stuff that Dave and I, that's kind of the sound that we tend to make together. And that's what we're doing. We're just kind of we are effectively not doing anything unnatural. I think if anything, we're just saying yes to everything under the creative sun. And if something really doesn't fit, then we go, okay, no, that doesn't work. But we're deliberately not saying, oh, we don't do that. We don't make those sounds. We're saying we'll make whatever sounds. So I don't think anybody is going to be really, really shocked. I think there's just going to be a few things that are going to be interesting ear candy that maybe you've not heard from us in the past, from either the Bros or myself solo. So,
yeah, cool question.
Yeah, great question.
I love when people ask about this new record, because right now I'm missing the process of making it so much. We've been in lockdown for 6 weeks, and we stopped sort of right in the midst of really getting some momentum on it. So being able to talk and sort of reminisce about it is actually, it's good for my brain. It's really helpful.
Yeah.
Carrie, you beauty. Carrie Bilkowski, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic guitar player right here from Winnipeg, friend of ours all the way back to high school. You guys are notoriously the nicest people in the world. Aw, shucks. Carrie is also notoriously one of the nicest people in the world. He dropped off some bagels at my house 2 weeks ago, and I was very grateful. Who are some artists you've met along the way you would consider the nicest people? Any highlights, playing workshops, or sharing stages? Man, honestly, more than I could name. But let's just spitball. You do one, I'll do one. You do one, I'll do one.
Oh man, it would probably be easier to come up with people who were mean, but even that is tough. I'm trying to go through my brain of like,
oh, let's not do that. There's
no. I know. Yeah, I wouldn't. But yeah, I mean,
easy one. Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah.
Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah.
Hung with Bonnie for 90 minutes at the Winnipeg Folk Festival. Classiest, most down-to-earth, genuine, sweetest human being. It's totally knocked me out.
Yeah. Very, very kind.
I was a little kid working at the Folk Festival, working side stage, and Emmylou Harris. I was a teenager and I shouldn't have been smoking, but I was smoking side stage, and she passed me a lighter, smoked a cigarette on the deck on main stage, and she was absolutely one of the kindest. And I was just a kid. I was like probably 16 or something. Think about workshops. Like, who are some of the cats that we've played with on workshops that we've had real magical moments? Oh, Vance Gilbert.
Vance Gilbert
At Edmonton Folk. That was a moment.
Foy Vance.
Oh man, we got to play a whole set with Foy and Hammy and the Calgary Folk Festival. That was a moment. I won't forget that. That was so cool.
Yeah. That was really lovely.
John Oates from Hall & Oates.
Oh yeah.
John Oates called me. I was at a Smitty's. With Roberta, and this guy phones my cell phone completely no notice whatsoever. I get my phone rings and it's like, "Hey, I'm John Oates."
Hey Dave, it's John Oates.
And I was just like, "Yeah, the fuck you are." I was like, no way. Yeah, sure, whatever. Who is this? Like, no, it's John Oates. It's like, yeah, sure you are. And it was John Oates who's calling me to tell me that he we have the same agent, and he found the record and he really loved the record, and he wanted to know when we were coming to town next. And he wound up opening a show. We wound up doing a show with John Oates. He opened for us. At,
he opened for us
Lindsay.
at Third and Lindsley in Nashville. Yeah.
Lindsley.
That was weird.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Somebody has something funny here. Oh, not funny. Have we ever met Brian Adams playing around Canada? Well, I think actually Brian lives in the UK most of the time, I believe. But he did send me a message on Instagram one time.
What did he say, Joe?
He said,
keep rocking.
Keep rocking with no punctuation.
Heavy.
Hey, brother, keep rocking. And then, no. It started off with, hey, man, really like your playing, no punctuation. And then I composed myself and sent as chill a response as I could. Hey, man, means a lot coming from an absolute legend like yourself. Played many of your songs. Really, really love your playing and your writing and your singing. Thank you so much. Left it at that. And then he responded, keep rocking, brother. No punctuation. It was the coolest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, that's pretty.
One of the coolest things. Rhett Shaw was asking, was Kenny Greenberg playing guitar with Bonnie at the time? No, he wasn't. It was dude with an Italian sounding last name. What is his name? Can't remember. But he was phenomenal. The guy with the curly hair who's been playing with her forever.
Did you see the comments? Joe, you have questions about you had questions about the brain, and somebody here is a psychology major. And
oh, cool.
How far back do I have to go?
Let's see.
Hang tight. Here it is. Part 1.
Auntie Kathy also said, read the book, This Is Your Brain on Music.
Yeah, that has come recommended to me a couple times. I'm a psychology major. What do you think about the fact that the more proficient you are in music, the more your brain uses the occipital lobe rather than the temporal lobe? And then I can't weigh in on that because I don't know any of the parts of my brain. But great question. And then there's this. Steve B says the automated versus spontaneous speech difference appears when you review literature addressing dysfluency, stuttering. It really makes me wonder about automated playing versus improv. And then Jacob also says, our brains are so crazy.
Brains are so crazy. So crazy.
Joey, this also makes me happy. Look at this one. Evan says, bro, I swear I'll bring like 80 people but with me, but please come to Halifax, guys. Jesus Christ on the cross, Lord Thunder and Jesus. Yes. Evan, we're dying to get to
Evan,
those,
we promise. You don't have to bring 80 people. I mean, it'd be great if you did, but we will come, I promise. Yeah.
I'm giving Jake, I don't mean to solo Jacob here, but I keep finding these questions. These are fun. Joey, what was the inspiration behind Something off of 87? 80s vibes, reminds me of Aha.
What's Aha?
An 80s band.
Okay. That song originally started as an idea that was inspired by my buddy Champagne James's version of, he has this beautiful instrumental version of Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And it inspired me to go back and listen to the original version of that tune, and definitely borrowed a lot from, was that Tears for Fears? I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And oh man, the guy who's the touring drummer for Tears for Fears sent me a message the other day, and I didn't respond. I forgot. I gotta message him back.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
Where can I find lists of artists that are on your label? You can go to birthdaycakemedia.com and check out all of the fantastic artists that we have the pleasure of working with. They are numerous. Yesterday, we released a track by Chris Ulrich. If you guys don't know Chris Ulrich, please go check him out. He's fantastic. He's played some shows with us in the early days. He's another Winnipeg cat that we grew up with. He's probably 5 years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years younger than us, something like that. I don't know how old he is. He's handsome. Go listen to his music.
He's pretty good looking. You should check out his record. You're gonna love it.
We also put out a single from a hip hop artist in town. His name is Egg, E.GG, in collaboration with a couple of guys from a band called Royal Canoe that have a production outfit called Dead Men.
Yep.
So
yeah, I heard the premiere on Q yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Somebody was asking, do we only release roots artists? No, we don't. We have
anything good.
Yeah, we got singer-songwriters, we have R&B artists, we have pop artists, we have country artists, we got everybody.
Man, just
almost
good music.
Everybody.
We just like good music and good people.
Jason Hobbs wants to know who's the oldest brother, Dave. Who do you think, Jason?
Yeah, hit us in the comments. Who do you think's older and by how much?
And why? And be
honest.
No,
I don't want to know why.
I want to know why.
Just
what's your favorite string brand? Stringjoy. I love Stringjoy strings.
Yep. Any questions you see there, Joe? Oh, here's one. You know what? It's a couple of questions about songwriting.
Yeah, great.
Somebody was saying, I can't find it, but somebody was talking about feeling self-conscious about their songs, wanting to tear them up 10 times before they're done. Joey, fire us up. Tell us a little bit about writing songs.
What was the comment?
Yeah, just maybe somebody asking about some. Oh, here I'll pull one. Here's one. Can you read it, Joel?
Can you talk a bit about your songwriting process, trying to get better, but when you compare your own stuff, time sort of feels. Oh, I also, just before I answer this question, Joel Q, shameless plug, everybody. Please check out his Instagram and YouTube at Joel Q. He's doing a jazz event calendar every day leading up to Christmas.
Hey,
do it.
Yeah.
This is not a paid advertisement. I'm just helping a buddy out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get on here. Yeah, you know what? That is such a. I think that's just everybody's experience. I mean, maybe every now and then you run into somebody who is not afflicted by being self-conscious, but I honestly don't know anybody. And if you say you're never self-conscious, I don't believe you. I think it's just part of being human. You know, the thing is when I listen to my own music and then I listen to some of my favorite writers, I feel the same way. I listen to it and think like, oh, I didn't go deep enough on that lyric. I didn't explore all the different options. I could have painted a better picture. The melody could have been stronger. Maybe the changes weren't there. You know, there's always ways to second guess yourself. And I think the only metric that actually matters is, do I mean it? You know, and when you are looking at your own stuff with that judgmental eye, you have to go back and look at your past self who created that, and did that version of you mean it? And if the answer is yes, then mission accomplished. Just move on. You know, because I think we live in a time when everything is hyper commercialized, and I don't think that that's a bad thing, but I do think that it can get in the way of being objective, you know, with your art, or rather makes you over objective of your art. Art is only supposed to represent a moment in time, a feeling, an idea, a thought. That's it. And so I think, you know, I feel the same way about improvising. Like if you're trying too hard to play your latest thing you've been practicing, you're not doing the thing. You're just letting other people watch you practice some more. You know, just play, sing, write, perform from the heart, and as long as you mean it in the moment, you're doing the right thing. You know, you can always build the craft. You can always spend more time reading. You know, I don't know. What would one do to exercise the writing muscle? Like, try to find interesting synonyms for stuff, different rhyme schemes. I don't know. Like, whatever fires you up. And Dave, you know, you're an avid reader, so Dave has this really lovely vocabulary that he pulls on oftentimes. And so, like, I'll come to the table with a fully finished song or mostly finished song and say, here, I've got this thing, and he'll go, oh, this is really cool, but it's going to work better if we say it like this. Go, yeah, there you go. Those are things that you can always fine tune on. But if you're finding yourself being super judgmental of the work you're doing, I will go as far to say as you're doing it wrong, because that's not what it's about. It's not about being good enough or whatever. It's just about being honest.
Beautiful, Joe.
Thanks.
Yeah, well put.
I
like
mean
this
it.
one.
I do mean it. I can't see it because my phone is in the way. I'm using it as a webcam. What does it say?
Joey and Dave, please tell my kids to go to bed, from Ben Kirkham.
Oh, Ben, how are you, man? Hey, go to bed, children.
You horrible little monsters. Close your eyes and go to sleep. Leave your parents alone.
Hey, we got another super question here, Dave.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Thanks so
I
much,
don't see
Austin.
it.
That's crazy. We really appreciate it.
Hey guys, curious about how you see your sound evolving in the future. 87 seemed to be more focused and intimate than Let It Lie. How did 2020, a pandemic year, transform your music? Well, okay, so I'll let you in on a bit of the insights. So this record, I think, is kind of teed up to be a bit of a concept record, in that we are kind of looking at the songs from a wider or a few steps back, and recognizing that, like, there are a bunch of sort of themes that have emerged with the songs this year. Some of them came from before this year's. We didn't write them all just specifically for this record. Some of them have been rescued from earlier, but we sort of are exploring this idea that through trauma, it can be a bit of a catalyst for positive change, and sort of looking at this time, trying to find the silver linings, trying to find the hope that comes out of sort of all of this, challenge, hardship, suffering that's happening this year for people all over the place, and trying to look at it through the lens of, like, hopefully there are things that will happen that will make us better, as individuals and as a society. And so I think this music is decidedly even maybe a little more intimate and maybe a little more mature than the last couple of records, like digging a little deeper to talk about some things that we really believe in and have affected us. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
I don't think I could have said it any better.
I hope that's worth $9.99. Thanks, Austin. Appreciate you, man. That's 4 cups of coffee. 4 cups of very nice coffee coming our way.
Shoot. Speaking of, what's your go-to coffee brewing method? I like a French press when I'm making more than 1 cup, and I like an AeroPress when I'm just making 1. I did have I had a V60, like a pour over, but I broke it. It was a sad, sad day.
We had lots of people weighing in on how old we are.
Oh God. Okay.
Most people got it. So Joey is 20 months younger than I am.
Is that right?
Yes.
Dave was born October 16th. I was born June 15th.
Yeah, almost to the day. Almost 20 even months. And I was born in 1985, and Joey was born in 1987. So do the math.
That's why our last record was called 87, because that's the year that we became brothers.
Aww. Joey, question about previous members. I'm going to pop it up here.
Okay.
Do you guys think you'll ever write or perform with earlier members of the Bros again? I love watching Ariel pose in solo ventures and your new stuff, but miss seeing you guys play together.
Yeah, well, I know that there will be a time again down the road that we will join forces with Ariel in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. As for other folks that have come through the band, I mean, it just sort of depends on the time and the context, and we absolutely love and adore everybody who's come through this establishment, so. Yeah,
we've been lucky. We've played with some of the most talented musicians in the world have been in our band. I really believe that. And we'll all make noise together at some point. But Ariel is so busy doing his own thing, and he's just crushing it. And his new record sounds incredible.
Mm-hmm. Rhett Shull, he's got a split. Rhett, I will give you a shout sometime this week, and let's talk about that idea we had.
All right. Little what's that called? Foreshadowing?
Yes. Pierre Bohemier. How's it going, man? Miss seeing your face around. It's
Pierre
most
is
of the...
a staple in the Winnipeg music scene, and he's been a longstanding supporter of our band and a lovely human being. Congratulations on your contribution to the Cat Song Festival. Your rendition of Peace Train takes me to that special place. Can you talk about how you got involved in this wonderful festival?
Oh man, it was totally purely serendipitous. What am I trying to say? It was serendipity. Um, One of the people who works for Yusuf's management team is a fan of mine, of ours, and just reached out and said, "Hey, we're doing this thing." And one of the things that Yusuf really wants to do is not just include some of his famous friends, but also share the spotlight with some lesser known artists. And if you're interested, we would love to have you. And so that was it. I mean, it started by Cat Stevens sliding into my DMs, and I checked my unread or the message requests folder. I check it once or twice a week, and I went in there and was just like, "That's like Cat Stevens? Holy crap!" And years and years and years and years and years ago, our dear friend Alexa Dirks, otherwise known as Begonia, her dad is a really brilliant artist, painter. I think he does sculptures and stuff too, but he's a really, really beautiful painter. And he was doing an art installment opening, and he asked Alexa to come and sing a song, and he specifically asked for Peace Train by Cat Stevens. And so the first time I ever played that song was with her, and I just loved it. There was something about that, the melody that really hit me. And I mean, you play any song with Alexa / Begonia, and you're gonna have a great time. But I had a really, really lovely experience playing that music with her. And so when Hal reached out about us participating in that, that was immediately something that was like, I want to do this song. I've always wanted to play this song, and after playing it with her. So yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Corin in the house. Phil, how are you? Phil is my high school band teacher and is very responsible for the musician that I am today. Pushed me in all the right ways, challenged me, and I'm forever grateful. Phil, I hope you're well.
Guitar question for you, Joe.
Sure. How did your Sorokin compare to the original? I never got to play that guitar again. So after playing the Sorokin, really would need to pick that old thing up again and sort of see how they compare. But I will say that I've played other 54s since then, and to me, it's the Sorokin is as close as you could possibly get. So there's always going to be intangible factors with something made of wood, because it's organic and biological, But the Sorokin is my very most favorite guitar on the planet. So
yeah,
that should say something. Yeah.
Do you have a question there that you saw? So
no.
Ben says, question, how do you get your head back into performing older songs when your head was in a different space at the time of writing?
I don't know that I have to think too hard about that. Because there's certain things that just like have to happen in a set, for us, because I think our music, the way that our sort of fan base grew was so organic. I don't know. Can I say that?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like there's certain things that we just like, we have to play in a set. We have to play Let It Lie. We have to play Made Up Mind. So it's never like I got to go back and play those old things.
If I could interject, I feel like
sure.
I feel like old songs, like I'll give you an example. On the last tour, we played Master Plan, and that's a song that Joey and I put together, and it really meant a lot to me. And when we played that song every night, it took me somewhere. I thought about the past number of years that we've been through, I thought about my wife. I thought about everything that song meant to me. And it was really a moment. And some songs do that to you. But over time, they stop becoming your songs and they start becoming other people's songs. And you start playing them as much for yourself, you play them for the people in the audience. And they kind of become old friends as opposed to like these really sort of deep meditations, just by the fact that you play them 500, 1,000 times. I don't go to that place every time. I don't go to that same heavy moment. I don't have that kind of reflection, but they still mean a lot because they're old friends and because now you're playing them for the people in the audience that they mean something to, So I think over time your relationship with them evolves.
Yeah.
And they still mean a lot, but they just mean something different now.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's a better answer than mine.
Just different. It's different.
But it's more writer, So anyway.
Oh, I see another yellow question.
Crazy. Somebody's asking something about chord voicings I really want to get to.
Sure. Which question? I'll track it down.
Dime Life says, what goes through your head when you're choosing chord voicings? Is it ear? Where did it go?
I don't see it.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above.
Oh, got it. Okay, and then William will get to your...
Is it ear-based or theory-related? I mean, it's a little bit both. I hesitate to say that it's theory-related because I'm not sitting there thinking about, theoretical construct when I'm playing. Something that I do a lot of is I practice a lot of voice leading. So, if you're... sorry, my guitar's quite out of tune. So, you think about the way a chord progression wants to move. If you're going from a 1 chord to a 4 chord, if you're playing first inversion. So this is very theory, but these are the things that I practice so that I don't have to think about it. If I'm playing 1 chord first inversion, so the third is on the bottom, 3, 5, 1. To me in my mind, there's only one way to go to the 4 chord, and that's first or root position 4. The 3 moves up a half step to the 4, the 5 moves up a full step to the 6, and the 1 stays where it is. If I go, that's obviously right, but it's not as efficient. And same thing going down to the second inversion, it's not as efficient. Sometimes that's the thing you want to hear, though. So I feel like if you put in your time working through all the different ways that you can voice lead through a common chord progression like a 1-4-5, or their relative minors. Then you can kind of make decisions, sort of informed decisions based on the work that you put in, and then you can start doing things like if I move one voice at a time, then it's going to push me in a different direction. So that was root first inversion 1 chord, C major, and like I said earlier, the only logical place to go to the 4 chord is to voice lead it like that because your leading tone is on the bottom. But if I move the top voice down, then I feel like I have to actually go to the second inversion of the 4 chord. So that is one of the things that I do spend a lot of time working on is voice leading like that. Spreading the chord voicings out. So doing all the exact same movements that I did before, but using open voice triads instead of closed voice triads. So it is kind of, the theory does come first, the practice does come first, but then following your ear is very important. Yeah. What? Sorry, Dave. What?
Well, I'm getting this remote that William's question, the next question is going to disappear.
Oh,
I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay. Where can I get?
Hit.
Oh shit! I think we lost it.
No, I got it.
No. Okay. What does it say?
Where can I get vinyl recordings of your music right now? I had looked on the internet last week and came up dry. I really want to give a friend a copy for Christmas. Um,
Um, yeah, I guess we have to stock the merch
there
stores.
are there are copies of both the Bros records on our web store, thebroslandreth.com/store. If there's two stores, there's one for the Americas, sort of that ships out of the US, and there's another one in the UK that ships to the rest of the world. So if you strike out in one store, try the other store, because the international shipping it's not great, but it is another, like, if you're really jonesing for the vinyl, you can still get it. I don't know if it'll arrive before Christmas, unfortunately, though. But they're out there. Sorry to cut you off, Joey.
No, that's fine. I'd said everything I wanted to say.
Okay. But yeah, and Joey is working on new pressings of
Hindsight.
Yeah,
Just working through the test pressing process, and as soon as that's done.
Here's a good one.
Yeah.
Andrew says,
"Oh, hey Andrew, what's going on?"
"Hey, from Fort Wayne. How do you guys manage being husbands and fathers while being so active musically? Trying to find that perfect balance has always been a constant struggle for me personally. Me and you both." Yeah, man.
Man, I just feel like the key is always communication, and I think that means not being afraid to have the hard conversations, which is, I think, what often has always gotten me in trouble in the past and in past relationships, not having those hard conversations when they need to happen. I mean, yeah, it is definitely tough. I'm not a dad. I'm about to be a dad, so I don't know how that complicates things. I can't speak to that. But as a husband, my wife and I are constantly checking in, and Anna is good at asking for what she needs, and I'm definitely getting better at asking for what I need. And yeah, I mean that's a very great question. It's deep and it's hard to answer. I think everybody's story is different, but you got to start with communication, because I think once you start talking about how things feel, and then you will inevitably see the humanity in the other person. You'll be able to find a middle ground somehow.
I think, yeah, I think, yeah, I admittedly have not done the greatest job of this at all times with my marriage, and my wife has been incredibly patient. Roberta has been super patient as I sort of figured this out, and we figured it out together. But I will say the thing that kind of turned a corner is when I truly began to understand that we had to make these decisions collectively. Because I think early on in the relationship, it was my approach was just like, well, this is just what I do. It's who I am. So take it or leave it. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And there's no room for a relationship there. There's, you can have lots of love, but the relationship exists in the cooperation and the compromises and that kind of thing. And then once we really began to understand what it felt like to talk through these things, and for us, that meant, time away from home. So when we're considering touring and the schedule for the band, that these are decisions that we're making together, that we're talking about together, that I'm not springing on her, that they're not just, this is what's happening, deal with it. It's like, this is what I'd like to do. What do you think? And then, as we were about to tour this year before COVID, and we have a new baby, and we had talked about some different ways, and that involved doing a lot of traveling together. And Roberta was going to start the tour that we canceled right at the top of COVID. We were going to start that together. We were going to go to Vancouver as a family and post up for a couple of days. And then, so yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. It's no joke. That's honestly, for me, has been the hardest part of the gig.
I mean, I think this is a challenging thought, especially for musicians, because it is being a musician, playing music, being an artist in any way. It just becomes such a big part of your identity. But I think something that I've been working on this year, this idea is that being a musician is not who I am.
Yeah.
And I've believed up until 33 years old that this is who I am. Without this, I'm nothing. That's not true. Without music, I'm still Joe Landreth. I have lots of other skills. I have lots of other interests. Playing music makes me really happy. And that's why my partner works really hard to make room for this challenging life or this life that can be challenging, is because she knows that this thing makes me so, so happy. And but the idea of like, well, this is just who I am. It's a challenging conversation to have, but it's not. It's not, because we're human first.
Yeah.
You know, and if there's a million factors that could have happened early in life that could have led me on a different path, I'd still be Joe Landreth. So it's hard to think, because I think all of us come to it like, this is what I do. This is the only thing that I do. This is who I am. I am like, look, I got a T-shirt with guitars on it. This is what I do. And
I got a keyboard tie.
I got a keyboard tie. Look at I play keys now. And I'm not criticizing that, but I do think that, you know, if you come to the table knowing that and believing that, then you're able to find a way around it. And I mean, like, we've had conversations many times over the years. What is too long? You know, when I was living in Toronto, there was a stretch of time when I was on the road for almost 7 weeks. And that was like, at the end of that, I came home off the road, and Anna was like, yeah, that's too much. That's too much. I don't want to ever do that again. I was like, well, that's good, because I don't ever want to do it again either. And having to respect that, like, I love this person, I want to share my life with this person. So you do have to, and I don't think it's about compromise, because I think there's something kind of like, there's something sacrificial in compromise. And I don't think that if you're truly trying to find a way to make everything work within your relationship, that you're actually making sacrifices. You're just making everything work. And so that means for us, we generally try to cap things at 3 weeks, right? You know, we kind of say 3 weeks on the road that's the sweet spot. That's where by the time we get to 3 weeks, we're ready to come home, but we're still having fun, you know? So I don't know. It's a big conversation. But it's just a good place to start. And I think, you know, if you're struggling, just one thing that my brother has told me over the years, whenever you have to have a hard conversation with someone, the only, you know, you can play the whole thing out in your head and try to predict what the other person is going to say and try to have responses for all those things. But the only thing you can do is sit down and say, hey, we got to talk. And then from that point on, everything just comes out. And there's no point trying to predict what someone else is going to say, because the whole point of having a conversation is to, you know, go back and forth and learn. And, you know, I don't know. I'm certainly not perfect at it. This is a work in progress. But
oh man, that's so well put, Joe. I love that bit about, like, you know, why does Anna invested in trying to make this thing that's hard work for you? It's because you love it, and that is why our partners are willing to meet us in the middle and work with us for that. That's just well articulated.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to say all the things you just said, because you said them so well. This is nice.
Ed, you're a beauty. Thank you so much.
Ed is a great supporter of what we do. Ed is on our Patreon page. Ed is all over the place. Ed is very kind. Thank you,
man.
Ed.
Ed loaned me one of the most epic fuzz pedals that I really have to mail back to him.
You know, I got to say, like, we see, you know, we read all the comments, we see them, and when you guys take the time to say a couple of nice words, like Ed is always doing, forever adding a little pick me up on the post, I just got to say, it does go a really long way. Mm-hmm. Thank you to any of you who take a few seconds out of your life to say, nice job, that you like the tunes, that you appreciate what we're doing. It's very kind. It doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you.
Absolutely. Stevie Nimmo, how are you, buddy? Nice to see you on here. Says, huge admire everything you do together and apart. Was wondering, how do you choose which songs to use for which project? So, and hope to see you back in Scotland sometime soon. Oh my God, Scotland, easily one of my favorite places on the planet. We've only played in Glasgow, but I mean, yeah, we're gonna get to the rest of Scotland at some point. Yeah. How do we choose? Well, in the past, we've really written for the project. Hey, like it's kind of like
Yeah.
we're making this record. We'll write for this. When I put together Whiskey, Dave and I wrote a bunch together for Whiskey, and that was mainly just because I needed to put out a solo record. We were taking some time off the road, and I had to write some songs. So I wrote a bunch of songs in Nashville. I wrote a bunch of songs in Toronto, and I wrote a bunch of songs with Dave, and that's just kind of how that wound up going. Nowadays, we're actually just trying to kind of melt the two projects together a little bit. I think, this next record is kind of the marriage between the two, and I never really wanted or intended to have a solo career, and it was kind of a thing that came out of necessity because we just needed to take a break from the road, and I had to keep working, and I wasn't about to go back to school, so. That was kind of where that came. So but a lot of great came out of the solo career. I learned a lot about myself, musically, personally, emotionally, all those things. But now we're kind of coming back together, and so I think the main goal of the whole thing is to have it all kind of be under one roof anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad to hear you say that. I like it. I like it when we get to do it together. Although, I mean, some of the most proud I've ever felt in my life was watching you do this solo thing, as hard as that was. And it was very hard for me.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely some of the most proud I've ever felt. Because it was just a beautiful thing. Out of tough things come some good things.
Yeah.
Back to the theme of our next record, perhaps, a little bit.
Absolutely. One quick guitar question. Joey, how do you deal with the hum in the P90s? Like that. Just find that. Ron Thomason told me one time, man, you just got to find Mecca. So like that. And then when the song's over, roll the volume down, baby. Gone.
Yeah. There's nothing more rock and roll than the hum of single coil pickups.
No, you know what? Until they figure out a way to make silent single coil sound really great, which I don't think they've done yet. When I rehearse a conversation in my head, I go in loaded for bear. I don't know what that means. By the way, I got a copy of 87 on the way. What does that mean, man? Loaded for bear?
It's a turn of phrase we're not familiar with here in Winnipeg, perhaps. But loaded for bear.
You go in ready to fight, maybe?
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps.
But thanks for grabbing the record, William. Thank you very much. I hope you like it. I really hope you like it.
Y'all.
P90s are missing. These are fun. I love doing this.
Yeah. Update on the kids. They're in bed, but only down to your Canadian charm. Glad to help.
Ready to fight. Yes. Loaded for bear.
Thanks, Phil Corn. Yeah. Marty! Oh, man, I got to call you back, too. Shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the finest bass players you will ever hear. And
Marty
also,
the bass player.
You want to talk about nice people in the music business. Marty Thiessen.
Mm.
Bless your heart, Marty. I also owe you a phone call back because I am eager to geek into this HX Stomp. But, I haven't slept in a while because I got a new kid. So I just haven't had time for the bass either. Marty has a couple of really beautiful records out on Spotify or wherever you listen to your music right now. There's just some fantastic musicality and really beautiful arrangements of some songs you would recognize, some that are his tunes, but please go check that out. It's really gorgeous stuff. Marty, the bass player on the internet.
Let's see what else we got here.
Yeah, you want to pull some? Hey,
Sapper. How are you, man?
Jay sent me a text the other day and said, "Hey," and I tried to FaceTime you, Jay, but I'm assuming you were at work, which is why you didn't answer. But I will try and hit you up so you can see the kiddo too. We play in a band with Jason called Dr. Hotbottom and the Soul Prescription, and we had a 10-year residency at a bar in town in Winnipeg. We would play every second Tuesday for something called Soul Night, and it has taken a hiatus because of the pandemic, but it'll pick up afterwards.
There's a couple I wanna answer here. Phil Corin, boy or girl, we don't know. We're keeping it a surprise. When March 12th is the official due date. One day before Meg Dolovich's Next baby is due. Isn't that funny? And then this one, which song makes y'all go like, fuck the world, let's start a riot? My response is, have you heard our music?
Man.
You know what? If there's any song that makes me feel like that, it's the end roll credits for the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. Dun, dun, bum, ding, ding, ding. Makes me want to do Karate in the Garage.
Yeah. Oh, great tune.
Helix presets. No, nothing we've made yet. But that's something we should do, Dave, because you're really digging the HX Stomp. You could put those up and sell them for a couple bucks.
No way. Okay. Well,
baby.
I'll talk to Marty. Maybe Marty and I can collaborate because he knows how to use this thing, I think, fairly well. I've been listening to this. Marty hit me to this dude on the internet called Ian Martin Allison, and he's a bass player out of Minneapolis, and he's so cool. And he's a real tone freak, and he gets the coolest sounds, and mostly he's using stuff that I have. He's got like the Cali bass compressor from Origin Effects, and he's got a fuzz pedal that I want to check out from 3-Leaf Audio. Anyways, we don't need to go down that road. Just me and Marty are bass players here. Who wants to hear that?
Henry wants to know, Christmas this year is a Strat, Blues Junior, and a pocket full of dreams. What's my first pedal to sound like Joe, or no pedal at all? Well, you could get yourself a Jackson Audio Golden Boy.
Highly recommend.
Look directly into the camera. Ting!
Joey, did they announce the best pedals of 2020?
Yes, made it in the top 5. I don't think it was number 1, but that's okay. Made it in the top 5. I'm so proud of the Golden Boy.
You should. It sounds great.
It's a great pedal. Here's
a question that came back. I'm going to pop it up.
Okay. I was going to say, if you don't have the scratch for the Golden Boy, maybe you could look at the Electro Harmonics Soul Food, which is nothing like the Golden Boy, but it is a great pedal.
I want to take a stab at this one.
Give her.
I found your music to be an inspirational revival for my guitar playing. What motivates you when you get into a lull of inspiration or lack a desire to play? I put the bass down and I cut myself some slack. If I don't feel like playing music and I'm burning out, I go for a run. I go out for coffee with friends. I read books, and I look to the other things in my life to light up my interest to come back to music. And that has served me. It's taken me this long to figure that one out.
Yeah. You know, when I was living in Toronto, what I now recognize was actually I was in a pretty deep depression. Anna was in school full time. I was on the road most of the time. And then when I was home, I was pretty isolated because I didn't socialize a lot. I spent a lot of time in my apartment, and I went through this really sort of dark creative period. And a friend of mine who is this great musician, artist, filmmaker guy from Goa, India. Vince Costa. We met him, just crazy road story. We met him, very, very fun set of coincidences. Anyways, made friends with him. He messaged, said, "Hey man, I'm in Toronto this week, having some time with family. Can I take you out for dinner?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we went out for dinner, and I told him about this creative lull that I was in. And he said, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I wake up early in the morning, I have a good breakfast, and then I sit at my computer and I beat the shit out of myself because I'm not writing any songs." And he was like, "Right, so that's never going to work." And he was the first person to kind of say, like, you know, your brain forms these pathways. And if you, like, when you're stuck in a rut, there's literally a rut. You have to go out and break that rut. And so he had said, go out and with the intention of, you know, going and trying to frame some photos, go take some pictures with your phone, go out for a walk and try to be artistic in a different way. And it was the best advice I could have ever gotten. I left the house, I got some fresh air, I took in some nature. I tried to, you know, I took some really pitiful photos. I don't even remember what they were or where they are. But what you just said about like going out, taking a run, cutting yourself some slack, it's never going to work if you beat yourself up. That's just not how creativity or art works. It's just not. You know, so please say hi to Brazil. Hey, Brazil, what's up?
We have this insane influx of Brazilian fans that I've noticed in the last year or so, and it makes me very excited about exploring the potential of coming in to Brazil and playing music for our new Brazilian fans. So thanks, Leonardo. Uh, Hopefully we can get down to Brazil and play some music for you at some point. Bring our families and have a Brazilian vacation.
Yes, I want to do that.
Joey,
Yes.
an old friend in the chat here.
Tim Elias, could you discuss string gauges? My experience with heavy baritone strings and open tunings has been frustrating. Secretly wish your string gauges were listed with your posts. I could, Tim, send us a message and I'll send you a set of strings. But yeah, so right now, normally what I use are 19 to 64. But just because I'm not playing anywhere near as much in the pandemic, I've lightened up to 17 to 56, which I think work really, really well. You're gonna have trade-offs with putting baritone strings on a normal scale length guitar. There are just things that are a little bit weird that you kind of have to get used to. Although, Tim, are you playing those heavy strings on your lap steels or something, or on an acoustic or something like that? Just exploring your setup is a big part of that. Balancing the bridge height and the relief in the neck. Just finding the right setup is basically what you're trying to do. Make sure your nut is cut right. Things like that. But yeah, I am finding that I'm enjoying the lighter strings, even in open C. So, I mean, they're still pretty heavy, but yeah.
Alessia, any chances of you guys doing video lessons on your songs, maybe on Patreon? Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Do you have how would you like to see that? What would that look like? Are you interested in sort of knowing how Joey plays it on guitar? Let us know in the comments sort of what that might look like, and we can certainly take that into consideration. Thanks for the question, Alessia. Jimmy James is back. And thank you for the coffee.
Yes. What's your single favorite classic song for chills? Oh man, Fooled Around and Fell in Love.
Ooh,
Elvin Bishop.
Great.
Must have been through about 1,000,000 girls. Ooh, such a vocal on that tune.
Oh man.
Yeah.
There's some Joni stuff that gets me. Like a lot of the stuff on Blue. Like that record really. I can't think of anything in particular. Both Sides Now. That song specifically, the orchestral version, it just gives me feelings, heavy feelings. Great question.
Oh, Johnny Boyle, I'd love to hear you sing that song. Johnny has just got one of my favorite voices.
Here's one for Dime Life. I'm going through a time. Also recovered from a bullshit wrist injury. It's difficult to find that inspiration consistently. I guess this is a bit of a backtrack to the last discussion we were having, but first of all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're going through a tough time. This is absolutely a tough time. And then if you add anything on top of it, I feel like our cushion that, if you go through life at like sort of a normal level, whatever that means to you, then you have like a built-in cushion for bullshit. And you could, something doesn't go your way, you sink into that cushion a little bit, but you're okay. And I think the reality is most of us this year are just skating by, and we have none of that shock absorber. And you add anything compounding that's difficult this year, and you're just empty. So I feel for you. I'm sorry, because that sounds like it sucks. And not being able to play, that's brutal. The other thing I was going to say is you don't need to find inspiration constantly. It's okay if it comes and goes. I think we don't need to, we have this luxury because of the lives that we have and what we do for a living. But you can have a waxing and waning relationship with music, and that's okay. You can come and go from it. You can come to it when you feel inspired and walk away from it and it'll still be there and it'll still love you just as much. So be gentle with yourself, man. This is a rough year. Just hang in there. All we got to do is get through.
Yeah, that's true. You make it to the end of 2020 in one piece, you've done a good job. Yeah.
Hey, look at this.
Eastfeld. Come on, man.
Dude.
What a beauty. No question. Thanks, either. Man. That's a very Derek Eastfeld thing to do. Here, get out of here. Get out of here. You broke ass chumps.
Thanks, Derek. I appreciate it, man. That's 4 very fancy cups of coffee coming at us this week. Bless your heart.
Skylar Van Meter says, how did you get started playing those cool bebop lines? Is it challenging in open tunings? Love you all. Such a fan. Thanks, man. That's really kind. You know, the thing with open tuning is like, I know it really well. I'm more comfortable in open tuning than I am in standard tuning. So it's not a challenge to play lines like that. But just transcription, like Sonny Rollins, Lester Young, Charlie Parker, John Coltrane. Just transcribe the stuff that you think is great. Anybody that you like. I mean, there are definitely like rules to some of those sort of bop-esque lines, but there's no better teacher of that stuff than just transcription. So, records that the one record that I continuously go back to is Live at the Village Vanguard, the Sonny Rollins record.
That's such a great album.
I just have such a deep love for that album. So check that stuff out.
Duke. Oh, what a great picture. Daryl, your profile picture is fantastic. Daryl Havers, man. Ladies and gentlemen.
Daryl Havers, he played keys on our last record, played keys with us in Europe, and did some touring with us, did some recording with us. Absolutely wonderful keyboard player and longtime family friend.
I gotta say that I think, Duke, that tour that we did in the UK was the funniest tour I've ever been on.
What was that shit he said about I'm untrippable, man?
I'm like a goat. I'm untrippable.
What's your
I'm a mountain goat. I'm I'm untrippable.
No, he's something about his astrological sign. I'm a Capricorn. Can't trip me, man. I'm a goat. Untrippable. That's like literally something that pops into my mind every now and then. I don't know if you're Capricorn. I don't know which sign is the goat, but whenever I think of that, I laugh out loud.
Yeah. There were so many quotable moments. We were on the road for 3 weeks, and in that time, I had just some of the most distinct belly laughs that I've ever had. And I mean, what a wonderful musician! What a wonderful human being, Duke. Thank you for doing that with us, man. That was fun and funny. Joe,
yeah,
I'm watching the time and. It is ticking by, and I really gotta.
Oh yeah, I gotta get running too.
I gotta bounce. So, why don't you wrap it up for us, brother?
Man, thanks everybody for popping in. Really, really appreciate it. Feedback I'd be interested in knowing is, did you guys like this this medium? Because normally we've been doing it on Instagram, but because Dave and I are in lockdown, we can't get together. So what we would normally do so that we can stream to all these different platforms, we can't use that. We can't do it together. So we're using StreamYard, which only lets us do Facebook and YouTube. So what I'm hoping to know is that some of our friends from Instagram have made it over. So do you guys like this? Did this work? And thank you so much for joining us. And we're gonna continue doing this, I think, once a week. We're also curious to know what days people like. We've been doing Fridays, but obviously today is Saturday. So let us know in the comment section or DM us or send us notes on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Thank you so much, folks. Everybody who dropped a little cash on us, thank you so much for doing that. Certainly not expected or necessary, but man, do we ever appreciate it. Everybody stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you, brother. Love you.
There you go. Bye.